Hey everybody, it's Mark Pattison back with another great episode of Finding Your Summit, all about people overcoming adversity and finding their way. Before I get to my great guest today, I just want to let everybody know about my wonderful new website, www.markpattisonnfl.com. I've got my new great book out there called Finding Your Summit. It's about the faith and the resilience to rise above life's challenges. David, you know something about that? And also about my keynote speaking. I'm out there quite a bit. Just got done doing a TEDx. So if you want me to come light up your organization, reach out, go to my website. And with that, we'll get on to my guest who will be in and out. But nonetheless, we have him for a few minutes a day. His name is David Meltzer. David, how you doing?
Phenomenal would be an understatement, and what a blessing it is, Mark, to not only be on the show, but to be a party to such a great community, and also to be a part of your speaking and brand building career. So, just very excited to join you as a first of many interactions that you and I will have, I'm sure.
Yeah, I hope that's going to be the case. I've done almost 300 podcasts now, so I know you've done a lot as well. I was on your Instagram live thing the other day, and that was a lot of fun. And you're asking all the right questions. And the one thing that really exudes off the page to me about you is just how grateful you are about life, about trying to help others, and really try to spread that happiness. In fact, you've got this goal. I'm not quite sure how you do it and how you quantify it, but you've got this goal about trying to make in your lifetime 1 billion people happy. That's your main goal. How do you do that?
Well, first, it's over a billion, so don't limit me. And,
Sure.
the math made it really simple for me because I couldn't get behind my own mission until the math made sense. And when I realized, one, that God would not give me an invitation without already knowing my limitations, that set me free to figure out the math. So
Uh,
I knew that God already knew my limitations, and He still gave me that calling. And for me to empower over a billion people, it became a matter of finding 1,000 people like you, and being able to empower 1,000 people like you that will empower 1,000 to empower 1,000. You see, 1,000 times 1,000's a million times 1,000's a billion. And so, in order to meet my mission of changing the world in humility, I simply have to find 1,000 people like you, Mark, that I know with great certainty that you will be able to empower another 1,000 to empower 1,000 to make a lot of money for the sake of helping others and having fun. Because I've never met anyone who makes a lot of money for the sake of helping others and having fun that isn't happy. And I can create a collective consciousness in my lifetime by finding 1,000 people like you.
I love that. With Sports Illustrated, which I read in the last 10 years, 2 years ago, we actually did a billion page views, which means there's a billion people looking at the various pages of the views, which are consuming the Raider content and the USC content and things like that. So I do understand that. And that's just a boatload of people. And it's just a great, way to think about life too. And you also have this thing about before you go to bed saying thank you, and when you wake up you say thank you. And I mean I can't, it's kind of like one of those things where it's really hard to be pissed off and be grateful at the same time, right? And so what do you choose? Life is a choice, and you've done just a great, like I said, I opened up with this, is that you're just, to me, you're this bundle of positive light and energy that's out spreading good stuff around amongst all the chaos that we have today.
Yeah, I was born into it. My mom, a single mom of six kids, named me purposefully with a definite purpose. David means beloved. My last name, Meltzer, actually means waiter or servant. So she made me live up to my name as a beloved servant to provide value to other people. And so, in honor of my name and the definiteness of purpose that my mom gave, the meaning to my name, I give that meaning to my own life, and I give meaning to my past to align with that divine direction as well. And you talked about saying thank you before you go to bed and when you wake up. Easiest, most agreed upon way to change your life is to say thank you. Nobody disagrees. Whether you're a world thought leader, an NFL superstar, if you're in play for the Knicks right now,
Yeah.
every single person I get to talk to agrees with me. Saying thank you has the most impact, and it's free and it takes zero point 0.1 seconds. But the greater lesson of gratitude is one for life. And you know this by being so resilient and reaching the highest levels and doing the great things about the small things. It's the simple things that we do that are simple not to do. And so when I learned to double down on the simple things, to double down on simplicity itself, and to make sure that they became non-negotiables, things like sleep, family, health, faith, study of finance, time, and relativity. These are really simple things to do. Those non negotiable behaviors and assigning time to them every day, 7 days a week, consistently, persistently in the pursuit of my potential, of what I desire in my divine direction, has exponentially created extraordinary value, not just in my life, but has impacted millions of people as well with that same mindset, the same heart set, and the same handset that got me to where I want to be or better.
Yeah, there's two breakaways for me that I take. Because number one is something you said earlier about the possibility, right? Why, Mark, why stop at a billion? Well, you shouldn't. I call my life making the impossible, which is my life, it sums up in one word, making the impossible possible, right? And then that goes into a whole subset of like how do you do that? And the first, you got to have the right kind of mindset. And every single morning, this is like my form of meditation. Every single morning at 5:30, I'm out the door. I live in Sun Valley, Idaho, so I'm at 6,000 feet. There's snow and it's cold and it's raining and it's all this different stuff. Right now, fortunately, it's lighting up because we're recording this right at the end of May. But it's just getting your mind right and what are you actually grateful and thankful for that are going to help set you right and get you going in the right step for that day. Because what you did do today can affect tomorrow. I can't help but like what's just jumping out. We're you and I are doing this on YouTube right now, right? And you're there with a smile on your face and casual and you're doing great. And what's just jumping out all over visually for me right now is this book that we just talked about. I just put out this book, right? Which was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I'm sure you put out a bunch of books. And this one that you just read, don't do business with dicks. So we're talking about this gratefulness and being thankful and affecting others and happiness and all these wonderful words. And then you're going, oh, by the way, I wrote a whole book on how not to like mess with people that aren't nice, right? Tell me more about
Yeah.
this book.
Well, the title is a difficult choice for me because my other books, here's the names of my other books:
Yeah,
Connected to Goodness,
yeah.
Compassionate Capitalism, Unstoppable, Creating the Life You Love, uh, Game Time Decision Making. And these titles did not jump out at the airport to people. And Simon and Schuster said to me, Dave, your books are terrific. They sell, but you have millions of people in your community now. You need to market your book correctly. You need to come up with a title that's much more marketable than Compassionate Capitalism.
Yeah.
And so I came up with these ideas, and this is a quote from Lee Steinberg when I ran
Yeah.
the most notable sports agency.
Yeah.
He told me, never negotiate to the last penny, always be fair, and don't do business with dicks.
Yeah.
And when he said that, it's an amazing marketing tool because I carry this book at the airport purposefully, and people will buy it out of my hand. And they all have a story. They'll all have a story about some jerk that they did business with.
Yeah.
And, with the yellow print and the rocket on the front, it is built for attention. Now, the subtitle is truly what the book's about, and it's about how to ditch toxicity and align with
Yeah.
positive influences. That's more a Meltzerism
Yeah.
than the shocking title. But nonetheless, we should surround ourselves with positivity. And I categorize things very simply, Mark. It's either, is this person, place, thing, idea, event, circumstance aligned with my divine direction, or is it interfering with it? And if it's interfering with it, I stop, drop, and roll and get myself back into that divine direction very quickly.
Yeah.
But this simple categorization of my time, of my human experience, has exponentially aggregated, accelerated, and truly created great outcomes in my life by focusing and being great with the small things instead of waiting until I have to be great to get over the big things.
Love that. Love that. Love that. I say it slightly different, although you said it much more profound than I did, which is that you can't fly high with negative weight on your back. A negative weight or negative people in your life that are bringing you down and telling you you cannot do certain things. I want to make a quick time. We're jumping around a little bit just because our time is short today. But let's go back to something you were talking about. You used to run Lee Steinberg Sports Organization. So the little tie that I want to jump in. Number one, Lee's been on this show, and I went down to his Newport Beach office and we sat. And it was probably a year or two ago, and this is after he's gone through a lot of tough times, and he was very, very, very open about his drinking and the damage that he had done through all that and but going I let him know because I don't think he remembered it, but way back when I went to the University of Washington, and his big client at the time, this is before me, Warren was probably 6 7 years older than me, but Warren Moon was his big client. He was a big get, and then all from the CFL down to at the time the Houston Oilers and all that. And when I went down for my recruiting trip for at the University of California, they had me go up to Lee's house, his bachelor's swinging pad overlooking Strawberry Canyon, and it was amazing. And it was like, oh my God, who is this guy, right? And then he would
Yeah.
become this thing that you guys were in, Jerry Maguire and all this stuff, right? So, but it was just interesting. What was that experience like? Because when you were there, I believe, you were, I think, there in the heyday of Troy Aikman and all these guys that were just
At the
rocking
end.
it. You were the agency that was out there, and all these things go in cycles, of course. But
Yeah.
for a long time, you guys had the hold on the top prospects in the country.
8 first picks in the draft in a row, which will never be matched again. But you may not even know this. When I left Lee Steinberg in 2010, for the next 16 years, well, no, it'll be till now. So about 10 years, Warren Moon and I were business partners. So
Yeah.
we created Sports One Marketing together. And so my ties to Lee and Warren Moon are tight. But it was unbelievable. My favorite thing about Lee, even knowing his challenges and not being able to tell people about those challenges, we
Mhm.
did a really good job of hiding his dis-ease. He's one of the smartest and kindest people that you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing about running the organization at its heyday was that every client of ours was required to give back. It was required to pick a cause or a purpose that you were passionate about and give a percentage of everything you made towards that purpose or cause. And so, through Lee Steinberg's own challenges, he never wavered on his kindness, his generosity, his give back philosophies. And he was probably responsible not only for representing the biggest and the best athletes in the world, especially for football, baseball, and boxing, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield,
Yeah.
to name a few, but he created more charities and raised more money than all of the other sports agencies, including CAA, UTA, WME, David Dunn, who used to work for him as well, with Rep One and Athletes First. Put all of them together, they would pale in comparison to the number of charities that were formed by Lee Steinberg, led by some of the biggest names in the world, and the millions of dollars raised. That's pretty significant beyond the Aikman Moons and Youngs, Sabathia Ramirez, the Lennox Lewises and Evander Holyfields of the world. I'm most impressed with the hundreds of millions of dollars that Lee Steinberg has raised through empowering, in my philosophy, empowering the biggest names in sports
Yeah.
to create their own charities.
So is that what you take your experience with Warren running your own sports agency, and you've got this thing that you did with Lee Steinberg. Um, it sounds like that might be your biggest takeaway of all these lessons learned. Like the David sitting here today, when you go back 30 years, maybe, I don't know, I'm making this up,
Yeah.
the amount of like you look back and you go, during that period of time, it was this, and that. But the most important thing that I took out of that time was blank. Was it the give back piece or was there something more?
It was beyond giving back. It was just the philosophy of being kind.
Yeah.
I stole a line that I use on every one of my shows. It says, be kind to your future self, do good deeds. So beyond just giving back, the idea that I'm going to take every situation like the one I suggest, to not negotiate to the last penny, always be fair, don't do business with dicks. It's saying be kind to your future self. Do good deeds. Surround yourself with good people, good ideas, good circumstances, good events, good situations. And that goes beyond giving back. It's a overall philosophy that has inspired me and my mission that I'm capable of empowering over 1 billion people to be happy because I know what it takes to create abundance, to make a lot of money for the sake of helping others and having fun.
I got to take yet another shift here because we only got a couple more minutes. So one of the videos I saw was you down. It looked like to me there was a Serengeti. I was down there with Chris Long and his Waterboy Foundation, and I was actually in the first class. I brought my buddy Jim Mora, and then we were with a bunch of other military people and other NFL players, and we actually are the only guys. Jim and I came together and we raised the most amount of money and actually built a water well. We went to that village, and the way they celebrated us, talk about joyful over just being able to turn a spigot on a water faucet on, that they don't have to go 5 miles away, the girls, and walk back with buckets on their head and being attacked by who knows what. And so I'm wondering what your experience was with that, because it looked pretty damn similar to mine when I was there. Just all the
Yeah.
people and all the happiness and gratefulness and everything that you were down there and sharing that with them.
Well, I'm blessed to be the chairman of the Unstoppable Foundation, founded by Cynthia Kersey, who wrote the Unstoppable Woman book. And we have built 18 sustainable villages. So not only with water, but healthcare, as well as colleges, high schools. Warren and I built a school in a village ourselves. We donated, and my wife and I built 2 community centers. So, but the reason behind it was the experience that we had. And we brought our whole family, and we go every other year.
Yeah.
So throughout Kenya, Tanzania, and we built these villages and continue. I do 200 VIP experiences a year to raise money for this exact purpose because they are the epitome of gratitude. Like you said, the idea of being happy and to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of their potential from the mamas to the kids, especially the young girls who used to be sold off to men our age
Yeah.
just for a cow or a sheep. I'm blessed to be the chairman of Napoleon Hill Institute. I'm the chief chancellor of Junior Achievement, which is the seventh largest charity in the world for entrepreneurs 15 to 25. But the impact and the ability to see firsthand the impact. The chairman of Unstoppable Foundation means the most to my family and me, and the ability to have such a direct impact on all of those lives. And during COVID, we served over 1 million meals there in the Masai Mara. So I've had a very similar experience. I encourage anyone. And another deep connection for you and I, Warren Moon, Lee Steinberg, but Jim Morris Sr. Was my mentor. I played football at Occidental College, where Jack Kemp and Jim
Yeah,
Mora
sure.
and I went to law school in New Orleans at Tulane when he was the head coach. And Jim Mora took me under his wing, and has always been a great mentor of mine. And to this day, he came to SoFi Stadium, where my podcast studio, where we're going to host you as well, Mark, after the World Cup. And he was super excited to see the field in the stadium. And I couldn't believe a guy who had spent his whole life on football fields even wanted to go tour the stadium in his 80s. But man, you are surrounding yourself with the best people and the best ideas. And I look forward to doing more content with you as well.
Yeah, well, just another little tip that yesterday was his birthday, so we had a bunch of exchanges back and forth. This is senior, 91 years old. So the
Yeah,
who I went
I
down
got it.
to
I'll text him.
yeah, who I went down to Tanzania was junior, so he's my best buddy. But
Yeah, I
um,
figured it was Junior.
yeah. Hey, I would love to be involved in any of these Tanzania things if there's room in the future to be unstoppable. We're all about the same stuff, raising money, my daughter with epilepsy, things like that. So, anyways, uh, before we sign off, where can people find you? And remember his book, Don't Do Business with Dicks. Love it.
I
Where
love that.
can,
Well,
where, yeah.
thank you. I'm an old school email guy. So anyone in your community that would like my book, I will sign it, send it to you, pay for shipping and the book in an effort to empower them to empower others. So David means beloved. At D is my first initial. Meltzer means servant. David at dmeltzer.com. David at dmeltzer.com. Let me be a beloved servant in your life. We have so many different things we can do to help your community. So please reach out and email me directly. Put it in the notes. And I'm just blessed to have another great member and friend in our community with Mark. Thank you so much for allowing me to share.
This is the reason why I do these podcasts. I keep going, God, this is a grind. This is a grind. 300 episodes is a lot of episodes. And after I have these conversations with people like you, like Ted Nugent, like others, like Lee
Ted
Steinberg,
Nugent.
right? Right. I mean, between you and Ted and Lee Steinberg, I mean, three completely different personalities. And I just get so uplifted every single time with your energy, with what you're doing out in the world, and it inspires me to keep going and do other things in my life. So thank you for coming on.
You got it, man. I've done 2,600 episodes, so keep on keeping on.
I'm
Thank you.
just I'm just in the single A right now, man, trying to make my way up. So that's it. That's right. All right, everybody. There he is, the one, the only David Meltzer. Thank you so much.